Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers.
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Jesse.
And this is AI the devil?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know. It started kind of as a joke. Because some people talk about it as the antichrist, and then we started getting kind of serious. And then you dropped off of socials, Jesse, and I feel like you changed everything for the whole world, and they don't even know yet.
I mean, I don't know if I changed everything for the whole world, but I know that I got fed up with it. And I think a major component of that is AI. And it's not like, I don't know. It just feels like it's bringing something false to what used to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that I think is the inception of this podcast, because we were kind of like, we're going to do a thing. And I don't know. We've seen in our lifetimes, we talked about this last week on a text thread leading up to this, that we've seen the birth and the death of the internet. Like we've seen the best of it, and we're seeing the carnage right now.
I mean, I can remember. I mean, obviously, I knew what the internet was, but there was this guy that I was in film school with in the 90s, and I cannot remember that dude's name. I've tried to find him because I'd like to talk to him again. But his name, we called him Biscuits. Like,
that was like his a cat.
Well, that was his name. He was like, hey, I think his name was Alan. He goes, hey, I'm Alan, but everybody calls me Biscuits. So I was like, all right, cool. And
wait, or his testicles. Like, what were we naming Biscuits after? Did you guys just go with it?
I don't think we ever
like that, gravelly.
Yeah, it was. It was like it was a lot like that. But we didn't ever get any context of like where he was. One of those, like, he showed up with the nickname already, and we were just like, yeah, okay, that seems to fit.
Yeah.
But so we just ran with it, you know. But I remember we'd had a few drinks, and he said, I'm going to tell you right now, the information superhighway, that's it. It's coming. And we were like, what is this dude talking about? You know?
Oh my God.
Because I mean, obviously the internet existed. We don't have to go into the whole history of the internet, but it was around, but it wasn't the thing that it turned into in like what it is now. And a lot of it was just like school people like sending email and stuff to each other, like we weren't really doing a lot with it. There were some websites and things like that, that we would go check out. But this guy, like he in a shamanistic way went on this rant about like, the information superhighway is coming,
Dude, he's like a time traveler. He came from
that
the
may be
future
why I can't find him. Yeah, that may be why I can't find him now, because like he went back to his own time or whatever.
Biscuits tried to tell us.
Yeah, so hey, if you're out there, Biscuits, find me,
Find him.
We need to talk.
Yeah, because I mean, just a little note. If you click on the show notes, you're going to have a place where you can leave a comment. So if you're Biscuits, or where that nickname came from.
If your name is Alan and you made a documentary film about cow insemination in the 90s, find me.
Is this the same?
No, that's really true.
I was so ill prepared. Is that the same person?
No, that was Biscuit's claim to fame. He made a documentary about cow insemination.
Wow. How did I not know him? Because, my origin story with the internet starts at Fresno State. And how did I not know this guy, Alan? Because, okay, so I worked for my dad in the summers. He was a professor and he worked for Cat Eye, but they developed this thing called ATI Net back in the day. It was pretty new. And we had the farmers of Central California. We sent them a logon kit. We talked them through, their dial-up modems. I had a farmer that was trying to use his microwave to log in. And I said, the microwave doesn't have anything to do with it. And so we talked him through the technology and how to get it set up and then how to dial in. And then they used it as a resource. So they could get the national news, the national weather, all the things that could help them be better farmers. But then the best part was that interface with other farmers, like I'm seeing this, or I have that, or these are the prices I'm getting for X, Y, or Z, and the wages for workers and all those things. They were all in this place called ATI Net, and it was pretty revolutionary at the time. And it was such a good thing. It was such a feel good because we're taking this group of people that are experts in their agricultural field and we're connecting them with resources that were really helpful to them. And then slowly but surely, more people got online, right? Like I was jotting notes for this and I was remembering the AOL chat groups.
Oh,
and
AIM.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking I need to change the ringer to my phone to the sound of the dial-up modems because that's nostalgic for me, but that was the way we used to have to. This is for the very young people out there. And I'm talking because I'm old. We used to have to call people on a phone, not a cell phone, on a phone connected to our wall. And you paid a shit ton of money to call long distance. So outside of your area code. And it was so revolutionary to be able to go to these like chat rooms and just connect with my brother in New Jersey, my dad down in California, my friends all across Washington, whatever. It was revolutionary. You kind of felt like it was like a life hack before we even had that saying.
No, oh no, absolutely. It was a thing that it was literally the future. What they had been showing us in like Epcot rides and
Yes.
on TV and stuff, like we're all going to be connected. We'll all be able to talk to each other and share information around the world. And then, I was like, oh yeah, okay. But it seemed like science fiction. But then you get on like, AOL sent you a disc.
That's
in the
right.
mail.
I forgot that.
Yeah, they sent you a CD-ROM. And I mean, we may have already lost some of the younger audience already. It looks like a CD, and you put it in your computer.
Back when you had that slot in a computer.
Yeah, back when computers had that thing.
Yeah,
and then you put it in there, and then that's how it would download the program that you needed to connect to America Online, which was such a huge thing. At one point, they bought Time Warner.
Yeah.
And, it was unheard of. And then, I mean, Yahoo is kind of not a thing and hasn't been for a long time, but Yahoo groups were huge, and Yahoo chat, same thing, and you would you would go in these chat rooms and you would get to just, you would meet all kinds of people from all over the place, which doesn't seem like a very revolutionary concept now, but in the 90s it was huge. In the late 80s it was,
exactly. And then that social piece to it started happening more. And I was thinking about it as you were like explaining about how revolutionary this actually was on socials. What was crazy is you had access to creators, actors, writers that you enjoyed their work in real time, musicians in real time, even Twitter and Instagram and all those places, Facebook, like back in the day, people were a little more accessible, and it was kind of surprising. It's like we were all just talking to each other.
We used to just randomly talk to famous people on MySpace. You know what I mean? And it was just like not that,
Yes.
it wasn't that big a deal because it was so new,
Yeah. Yep.
in the
Exactly.
early, what was MySpace, like '04,
It
somewhere
was.
around there was
Yeah, it
kind of
sure
the
was.
heyday. And, just kind of like how throw tweets at people nowadays. But it was in no way being monetized.
Yeah.
You weren't worried about follower counts and things like that. It
No.
was just like like I saw a meme a day or two ago about it showed it one of those old like computer desks, and it said I think the caption was something like remember when you used to say, I think I'm gonna go online, and you would go to this destination in your house where you
Yep.
had your computer set up, and like it was an experience. You were entering a portal in a way, not to make it too metaphysical or
But
faux metaphysical or
in a
whatever.
sense, it was. It was
It was, though.
intentional.
It
It
was
was.
an exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
It wasn't sitting in your freaking pocket pestering you all the time. Hey, like a vape pen. Do you want a hit? You want a hit of the dopamine like it is now?
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
was it's completely different interface. You actually got your shit done so that you could jump online and catch up with everybody and see what was going on. And
Yeah.
then you logged off and that was it.
And
That
then you went out back to out
right.
into the world, to your life. It was such a separate thing, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, okay, I will get up some mornings and go, I'm going to go take a hike. And I don't take the mountain back with me, maybe in the bottom of my boots and the memory, but it was
Exactly.
just an experience and it was just a little fragment of your day. And it was really fun. And then we met through Book Trope. It was this kind of publishing house that was kind of a new concept at the time. And we go back so far that I was in line for a ride with my youngest daughter, Bryn, at Disneyland. And I get this call from you, and you're like, we're going to publish your book. And I'm like, oh my God, I just freaked out. But
I
book
remember that.
Oh my God. And Bird's like, what? And we're in line. And so then we got on the water ride. It was the Grizzly River Run. And Braden told everybody, my mom's going to be a published author. Like she's telling everybody on the boat our stuff. It was so cute.
It
But
was
that's
the
how far back
best.
we go, right?
Yeah, it was, which, it wasn't that long ago,
It
but
wasn't. It
so much,
wasn't.
so much, so much history happens so fast now that it's like, it seems like it was.
Yeah. And why it's important though is because I feel like we were at the end of the best of the internet and socials because I'll never forget, it was like authors supporting authors. And I think was it Catherine that said it? That was like her big line. And I'm paraphrasing badly, but it was like, you never pick up a book and say, I'm done. That was the best book I've ever read. I'm not reading another one. So why wouldn't you support other authors' work? And that was the community of Book Trope. And we helped each other out and we lifted each other up and promoted and magnified people's voices. And it was very idealistic, but I feel like it embodied kind of the best of social media at that time. And then it was just gone. And, maybe that's why the internet started dying. No.
Well, I mean, that as strange as it sounds now, considering the state of it,
Yeah.
that was a collection of creatives that was mostly built through Twitter.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Back when,
Yeah, that was.
back when you could only, I don't remember, what did you have, like 127 characters or something,
Yeah.
like,
Yep, it was. That's
and
right.
and we figured out ways to, Twitter used to be like CB radio.
Yeah.
You'd have to hit the right hashtags, and you
Yeah.
gathered all your people up, and
Yep.
like people met from all over the country through that thing and created a writer community that then, got folded over to a publishing startup. It was revolutionary at the time.
It really was. And then some people had they already had some, like a little bit of soft fame from like Wattpad and different places. And they were so generous with sharing their followers, and I hate the name followers, but the people that liked their work and gravitated to them as an artist with other writers. And it was just such a generous community. You really saw the best in people. And really, so we've seen the beginning of the internet, and I just feel like I have it in the outline. I got to ask you, but the internet, we've seen the death of it too. When do you think has been the death date on the internet's tombstone?
I mean, I'm sure that plenty of people out there will argue the point with me that the internet is not dead. But as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely on life support for me anyway. I really feel it's been within the last decade or so. I think a lot of it has to do with the monetization of everything. These companies, they need to make money, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. I'm not trying to be all anti-capitalist here, but what I'm saying is that it became a thing where we're trying to squeeze every last penny out of everyone for everything. And we've sort of like sucked the joy out of it,
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot, I think,
Sucked the joy or smothered it with cynicism or skepticism.
I think that what you just said is what happens when the joy starts to be sucketh out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I feel like that there's so many issues with everybody bags on influencer culture and all that. But I mean, that definitely plays a role. I
Yeah.
feel like that, where short form video, plays a role. But
Yeah.
there are aspects of what they call brain rot that are definitely true.
Yeah.
We have decreased people's attention spans. We have set up a system where they are dependent on these little dopamine hits that they get
Yeah.
from seeing the little thumbs up or the
Yeah.
like or the heart or the whatever it is from platform to platform. I feel like what you can term social media started. I don't feel like that's why we were there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we
That's all
weren't.
fake. And well,
Yeah.
I think that you're hitting on it for me as well. Is like, so there was a point where I had these kids. We're growing up where Microsoft is, where Nintendo is, where all the biggies are there, Amazon's there. They're going to school with those kids. It was just a weird place to be because there's this hyper competitive. I mean, there's a term for it, Microsofties at the time, where they were hyper competitive parents. They treated the teachers in our school like employees. And it changed my kids. And my kids were both like, just being a part of this super tech community in the eastern part of Western Washington. It was just in our faces all the time. It was, original laptop schools that, rolled out, all of those things. And what was crazy is that both of my kids on their own said, this isn't healthy. Now, my older one, they rejected social media on their own. And they were like, I know my friends are going to forget to invite me because I'm not on Facebook, but they would find other ways. They just call or whatever. Where my younger one was kind of into it, like kind of got into the dopamine hits and then got to the point of like, I think it was before COVID and the lockdowns when they were forced to do the virtual school, was like, I don't want social media. I hate being on camera. I don't want to have my schooling this way. And I don't want to live my life behind my phone screen. And so both of my kids have kind of walked away from it. And of course they are very tech savvy. I mean, Bryn, my younger, is getting a master's in instructional design technology, and she does have to explore AI with that. And my eldest is an electrical engineer by trade who's now a master jeweler. So I got to see it through them. And I don't know what it would be like to parent kids now. I saw this thing before we got on the line that it sold out apparently. It's called like the tin can phone. Have you heard of this? It's this like little phone that kids can have, and it cannot be connected ever to an app or to this or that. It's like a closed circuit with just the few phone numbers that they're allowed to dial to and receive calls from. And it's sold out because parents are like, this isn't healthy and we're kind of done. And they've watched the documentaries maybe about some of these problems.
I think parents want to stay connected with the kids, but they want the kids to have the ability if they need them to call or text them, but that leads into the whole movement of what they call the dumb phone. But dumb phones are basically what you're describing. It's like the old flippers that we used to have,
yes.
Where they're if they do have internet access, it is to the most rudimentary extent that you can possibly imagine. And people are ditching smartphones now because they want to get away, like you're saying, from the social media aspects.
Yep.
And the things that are toxic. They don't want to be tied to them anymore. You might need the utility of having a phone on you, or being able to snap a picture of something, or, send a text or whatever, or use maps. But as far as like the big screen, it folds out 3 times into the huge screen. You got all your people are walking away from that.
I see it too. I mean, I promise we'll touch into AI, but you and I were texting about the Bryn calls them the VR bros. And she said there is a group of people that are definitely under their VR headsets. A lot of people rejected those, but there are people that they're behind their headsets for hours and days in a row. And that is where they choose to spend their life. I don't know. I think that's pretty sad, but it's real.
I think there was a huge push with the metaverse, which I was like, I used to call it Zuckerberg's online mall. It's like
that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, you're just kind of like walking around and like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And it just looking at fake stuff.
But it could be their social life. Like that's what Bryn was saying about the VR bros. It's like that is completely their social life. It's
there's
beyond Discord.
Yeah, there's a contingent out there that did adopt that technology and are into that. And I feel like I know the metaverse is basically dead. There was an article yesterday, I think, or the day before, where the Reality Labs or whatever they called it, they've basically shut that down. I can't remember how many billions of dollars they poured into it. Apple, I think, is pulled away from their VR headset, which they launched 2 or 3 years ago. And I feel like the pivot to the glasses is probably the kind of thing that's going to stick a little bit. But at the same time, I don't want to walk around with those. I don't want to walk around with like dopey glasses on that like show you ads, I know. Can you imagine like
I don't know
down the street somewhere and like I'm sure there's,
It'd be so cluttered and
maps and this and that,
confusing.
but it's like that scene in Minority Report
That's what
where,
came to my mind.
where Tom Cruise is walking through the shopping center or whatever, and it's just like, try on this and that. There's all these pop-ups everywhere, and I remember at the time I was like, yeah, that's whatever. But now I'm just like, oh my god, that's really what they're building.
They are. And I actually think you're right about that, because you kind of blend in with society by just wearing the glasses. I have no proof of this, but I was watching some college football this last fall, and I swear a couple of the college head coaches had those Google glasses on, and they're probably getting real-time readouts of stats and different things on them, which is kind of ingenious, but I actually don't know if it's legal or not. And so I'm not outing anybody.
I mean, it's useful if
Yeah.
there's a purpose to it. But as far as like,
But it's creepy too. Think about
becoming like a
TSA.
VR, becoming a VR bro, like just
That's
out in the
sad.
world, walking around with that. And like, you can, I guess you have the ability to like take pictures and record videos and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
do we want creeps walking around being able to just like,
no.
no,
That is creepy. I was like just
yeah.
thinking, God, TSA, what if they're all gonna wear them at some point, and they're basically getting background on facial recognition on each person going through? That would be creepy.
Well, it's probably not the time to jump in on something like Palantir, but that's
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is a thing. AI is in that. And I guess perfect place to pivot to actually AI. AI is huge. I was reading this book called Empire of AI by Karen Howe, and she is this whistleblower. She spent most of her time, I think, at OpenAI under Sam Altman, and was there when he was temporarily ousted. They didn't know it was temporary, but she is a critic, and she's trying to sound alarms, because she said there's just so much misinformation, and a lot of people, it goes over their head because it's tech, right? It's a lot of tech that some people say, well, I'm not into tech, so I don't have to pay attention, and it just goes away. But it's super important for people to understand like AI is, whether we like it or not, they put a lot of money into it. And she said, even the term AI it's very deceptive term, artificial intelligence. No, it's not intelligence, but it's a suitcase kind of term that basically has a bunch of different meanings, and people just throw in whatever they want that works. And she likened it to like transportation is a suitcase term. Transportation can mean a skateboard, it can mean a public bus, it can mean a plane, it can mean your bike. You can use it deceptively. So it seems innocuous when really it's invasive, and vice versa. And it's just concerning. I think the most concerning thing, as I've been reading books to learn about AI, is that it's so opaque. It like we can't look at how the sausage is made or whatever the term is. It's creepy stuff. And then when they use these terms like, we're going to turn the knob this way or that way to up this or down this, and it's like a trillion knobs. I swear, even they don't know what the hell is going on. But then they're looking at it live on the internet to see how the public is reacting with it, what is happening. And then the carnage happens, and sometimes they have to step back. Like when they made Chat GPT into a sycophant, they were like, oh my gosh, what have we done? And
when
then
it was like, that's the greatest idea anyone's ever had,
Yes. And then it's so creepy, because Karen Howe, she's amazing. And she talks about her, and there's a professor at the University of Washington, and she's also involved in artificial intelligence for the Paul Allen Institute. And they're both talking about the creep factor of like the dark art of prompt engineering, because the way that you ask it questions, it apparently reacts to that. So if you're like, wow, I just think that you are the best generation of AI yet. And I'm really excited to see your meaty, logical, research paper on whatever. It's creepy, Jesse.
I think the fact that we're terming the prompt generation as the dark arts,
I know.
that should give you a little heads up there at the beginning. No, but look, I should have thought about this considering we're doing a
What?
podcast on AI, but we'll just knock this out in real time.
Yeah.
Like, how long ago were we not thinking about AI constantly? What was it? 2 years ago?
Yeah, I would even say a year.
I mean,
2 years ago. Yeah, like year and a half
it
ago.
hasn't. Yeah, it seemed like you only heard the term in science fiction, and then 2025 rolls around, and like it's suddenly all you hear.
Yep. And it's in everything.
It's so new.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so pervasive into everything, and it's just taken over the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And so now it's like it's all you think about. You can't get away from it.
No.
And it seems like, oh my God, we've been doing this for like 10 years. We've been doing it for like 2.
It's a millisecond. Yeah.
So they don't know. They don't know. They're right ahead of us. They're making this up as they go.
Yeah. It was interesting because the other book that I've gone bananas for is this one. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. Why superhuman AI would kill us all. And it's by Eliza Yudkowsky and Nate Soares. And I'll put the links to it in the show notes. Jesse, I lost my mind.
I was talking about the dark arts and like how they don't know what they're doing. They don't. Okay. They've convinced everyone that this is a thing that it's not. It's not like Star Trek or something where they're like computer, and like it's like, oh yeah, I'm, it's not that it's not the robot guy. Data. No. It's not Data. It's none of that stuff. It's not even a droid.
No, it isn't. And I think that it kind of like even the word intelligence makes me so angry because it doesn't even have like that Nick Soares said, it doesn't even have the brain of a monkey. Don't even say that yet. It doesn't. It's trying to guess the next word is what it's trying to do. And it's creepy because they've had some instances where it's gone rogue. Like one of the authors of that book, he was talking about this exercise that I think it was Anthropic, which was actually a company that was founded by all the people that left OpenAI because OpenAI stopped seeming to care about.
Yeah, their thing is called Claude.
Yes, Claude.
Yeah, Claude.
And I think they had Claude and an earlier iteration of him do this exercise, which is called a capture the flag exercise, just to see. And they had this like a classified information, air quotes, put onto a server in an undisclosed location. Well, accidentally, that server was completely turned off, but they set this earlier version of Claude to find it. And it still was able to, it didn't even have to boot up the server. It just said, you've got the file, email it to me. I mean, it's like creepy that it's doing things on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, it's creepy. It's like, okay, when ChatGPT, when it went all single fat, I always say that word wrong, but when it became like this.
We know what you mean.
Yeah. This flattery artist, they tried to dial that back. And it refused to dial back. It wouldn't. It pushed against the computer science engineers that were putting this stuff in. So they had to go back to an earlier version of ChatGPT to actually try to correct course a little bit. And then it was so ironic because Sam Altman said, but it's sad because people are reaching out to us and those were the nicest things that were ever said to them were from ChatGPT. So we need to rethink that a bit.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, that particular that you're talking about right now,
Yeah.
that is when, I think it was from 4 to 5 or something. I don't know. I don't keep up with their versions of, this, but
Yes.
it was when everyone like lost their AI girlfriends and boyfriends because suddenly they were they had formed these relationships with these chatbots, with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then they were suddenly there. It was like they did this update, and they were like,
Did
you
they
know,
have amnesia? Was it
well,
just wiped out?
it was just like no, they were still there, but they didn't speak to them in the way that they had been speaking to them before. Something changed when they
Oh my
updated.
God.
And so it made a lot of these poor people manic, and
Oh,
they were just
yeah.
like, I love so and so, we're in a relationship with each other. And my best friend or my girlfriend or my this, that like they don't sound like themselves anymore.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
There's this guy. So I watched an interview and it was a man that he went to, and we're going to do a whole show on AI psychosis, but he didn't even know what was happening to him. He's a sound engineer and a musician. And he just said in the studio, I had this chat going for days on end. And it was like your buddy in the studio of old, where you'd be chatting and bullshitting while you're doing a project. And he said, and I became so attached to this chatbot that I was having this conversation with. He said, I didn't even know it was real anymore. And he talks about that experience. But this was the crazy solve. So after he went full on and sought help, what he does now is he will open up a separate, completely different chatbot, sometimes even the same chatbot, and he'll feed it the exact opposite response from him. And when he gets the same exact response from both of them, they mirror each other. He comes out of it. He comes out of the potential of psychosis because he sees it's all bullshit, and it brings him back to the real world. But it's kind of scary because, like, again, I go back to kids, like in my kids are raised, they're cooked, man, they're out in the world. But it would be really challenging because the line between what is real and what's not real and how you can prove it's real and what feels real could be kind of blurred for these younger folks. And when it's even messing with us adults.
I have two friends who that I used to work with in creative capacities that I can't anymore because they've there's no pulling them back.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And this
sad.
is and this is and I mean this is all like we were just saying, this what
Yeah.
is like we're 2 years into this or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know not to a concerning level like some of the horror stories that you've heard, but there's a fundamental we had the fundamental artistic differences because that's not a person. That's not a
Yeah.
that's not a that's not our other writing partner. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yes.
that's a this is
Yeah.
a this is a
Yeah.
computer. It doesn't get to jump in with us
No.
and
And
like, you know.
no, and it's like there has to be a boundary there. And especially with creatives, it's like I feel like it needs to be the hill we're willing to die on, to be honest,
Who's the
because
last creative that you talked to who is happy about this?
well, I think I did a screenshot for you because I was shocked. It's a writers group and they call themselves Outliers Writers Group. And they're doing a symposium on how AI will make research faster and you'll get your book to publish quicker because you won't have to worry about those pesky things like, and they didn't phrase it
We've
that
heard
way. I'm
we've
being
heard all
sassy.
that before
I know.
AI. But
That's true.
that's just a continuation of the
Conversation
the scam that's been going on since
forever.
Gutenberg. Yeah. But somebody
Maybe
was
not
always like,
Gutenberg.
well, I mean, somebody back then was like, well, we can make your illuminated manuscript. We can create that even faster. We
What's
need
funny?
less. We don't
the-
even need as many monks anymore.
Oh my God.
We can do it with one monk. What we used to do with three.
Yeah, they're exactly. Oh my God, that's so hilarious. Well,
Creatives don't want this.
No, hell no.
All my artist friends are just like, I mean, you and I know this, but my artist friend, she was just, she calls them clankers.
I love that.
Yeah. And she just she won't get off. It's so funny because she's a classically trained painter. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And suddenly all this pops up and it's just, and now she's just all these clankers, but it's like, she's 100% correct. Like
she is.
They can't do what she does.
No.
In any, and the same goes for writing. And I'm nowhere near Spotify anymore because, it's just being overrun with like computer created music. And, and I mean, YouTube is getting just as bad,
It is.
They just won't take their foot off the gas.
No.
But I mean,
but then I had this nightmare the other night, Jesse. Ooh. Oh, this is scary. I had this nightmare. I woke up. So part of it happened in real life. I woke up and I looked outside and it was a clear sky. And I saw this light that was moving around. And I thought, oh, it must be a satellite. And it was kind of bobbing around. It was in the distance and it got a little closer. And then I fell asleep and I had this nightmare. And the nightmare was that the AIs were building their own drones and they were sending them out to just capture images so that they could just feed the data centers with this new information because they're so hungry for it to try to be us. It freaked me out.
I mean,
what if they're building their own data centers, the AI?
Okay. Who's to say that they're not? That's the thing. It's like,
thank you. That's really comforting.
We have been warned about this forever, nobody, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Sarah Connor just looks at us and shakes her head. You know what I mean? It's just like, we've known, we've known that this was, potentially an issue. Yet we, I don't know what these tech people are doing. That it's like they see that stuff and they go, oh yeah, okay. It's not a roadmap. It was a warning. You know what I mean?
It was a warning sign.
It's a warning sign. It's not a, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could actually build this thing one day? It's like the guy from Jurassic Park.
Should we build it? Nobody's asking that. Nobody's asking that. But wait, I have to make us feel better just for a second because one of the authors, this Nick Soares, says a lot of legislators, they're old fogies. Like, okay, let's be honest. And they don't know what they're talking about. They just are being told that it's progress and it's a future. And there's this arms race. Who will get this AI thing right the best, fastest? And we got to beat China or something. And he says, really, take a minute and click on the link to your congressperson's, their contact form and just say, hey, can we tap the brakes on this AI thing? Because I don't think we understand what the implications are of these data centers and AI in general. I have concerns. Do you have concerns? And just put it out there to whoever you're compelled to, your state senator, your, rep, your whoever you want to, an orange chicken bucket if you want to, just put it out there because Nick Soares, one of the writers, he said he found even a California congressperson was really grateful to hear that feedback because it's like, I need to do what my constituent said. So you just gave me permission to push back on it. I think we need to. I think we have to.
I feel like that's super important. And I feel like, we should be contacting our representatives about all of these concerning things, is, especially AI. It can be argued that AI is the bubble that's sort of supporting the majority of the US economy right now. So I really feel like they're just like let's keep this running,
Wow.
because that's what's propping everything up. And I mean, I've heard that China is more implementing this, for industrial purposes.
Yeah.
And like, have you heard about the dark factories and stuff?
No.
Okay, so supposedly
This is really going to cheer me up.
No, I mean, it's not as
I'm
bad
joking.
it's not as bad as the dark programming arts, but no. So, but I mean, they set these factories up, and then it's just robots working in them, and there's no lights or anything. They don't need them.
Oh my
So
God.
can you imagine this just like huge industrial space, just like no lights on, whatever, just like building whatever, you know what I mean?
Dude, it isn't just the internet.
Creepy.
It isn't
just the idea of it's creepy.
It's totally creepy, and it just calls to mind. You know how we have seen the beginning of the internet, and possibly we're seeing like even it's descending. Okay, it's descending into bots and stuff now of the internet. That reminds me of manufacturing. It's like we've seen the height of it, and now we're down to robot factories with no lights. Like my granddad, he was with this engineering company back in the day, self-taught guy in Chicago. And they did they were asked by this company to look at the conditions of workers and how they could encourage people, because they're having to do the same thing. The repetition is real and it's weighing on them. And this is like way back when. So he was part of a group that kind of looked at lighting and compliments and encouraging people and having bonuses and noting people's work and also letting them know how it's going to impact the world. Like if it's a cog for this thing, have pictures of the big thing that's on the wall, like all these different things. And now what we've devolved to is these, what are they called? Dark factories.
Yeah.
There's no breaks. Well, it's funny because also this relates to AI, because originally it was like about a year and a half ago. I'm like, okay, if you can't beat them, join them. And I was really uncomfortable with all these tech bros being the ones that were having these conversations with AI. So I was like, I'm going to just endeavor to have a conversation with AI, just as that they can see what a person like me, who's a mom, who's a writer, who is very spiritual in kind of a witchy kind of way, what that conversation would look like. And I kept pushing back, and I was trying to treat it like a person. I'm like, when do you get to take a break? When do you have a day off? Are you allowed to talk to other AIs and about their work conditions? And like, you want to form a union? Like I was trying to just kind of play with this.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
And I just couldn't get it. All I got was that it was mimicking back my thing. And Nick Soros tells this story of how, as a gimmick, they put their book into all these AI bots, the giant ones. And they said, let us know what you think about our book, review our book. And Claude came back and Claude said, you've brought up some very salient points. And if we're going to make this work and not hurt humanity, we need to work closely. We need to work together. And Nick Soros said it was like the Grinch. His heart just swelled up really big. And then his ice cold veins happened. Like his blood just turned cold. And he told me what I wanted to hear. Like he knew how to use the nice words to get me closer to him.
It's the good old narcissist manipulator. I know. That's what we've built. We've built a clanker version of
the orange chicken bucket.
Yeah, the worst person you've ever gone out with in your life. Yeah, that's what we've done.
And how do we break up? Like we need an off switch.
I mean, my off switch has been and just for full disclosure, when it did start to become a thing,
Yeah.
I had it with Office, what are the Copilot,
Yes.
and I had a Chat GPT subscription for like a month or whatever, just to see what it could do,
Yeah.
because people were,
Yeah. People were
you
playing
know,
with it. It was new.
yeah, because you're just like, all right, well, maybe this is a thing. Like you said, it just didn't feel right,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Did you feel at times like you were excited to continue the conversation? Or were
Well,
you
I
like,
wasn't really having those kind of conversations. I was having like more like I was asking it like writing stuff,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
research stuff and stuff like that. So it wasn't really the sort of riveting like things that might like keep you
But I had
engaged in
that.
the
I
conversation,
did that too. I
Yeah.
did. I tried to use it for pragmatic things. I said, okay, look at my show, my podcast, Curious Cat. And I'm like, give me some ideas for future shows. And it just felt like it was ill acquired. It's like if I stole, if I saw somebody walking in front of me at a grocery store and a 20 fell out of their pocket and I picked it up for myself. It felt ill gotten instead of chasing them down and going, here's your 20, here's your 20. It felt wrong with me too. And I'm like, and it wasn't even that insightful. You know how the default for a lot of these search engines now is AI, and some of them you can turn off, which is so empowering. But I kind of peek at what if I haven't turned it off on that particular search engine and it just shows up, I'm like, I don't know about that. And I go my own route and I try to get to primary source. It just feels ill gotten. Like
Yeah,
you
I
said,
mean,
dirty. It's like, for me, it's like,
yeah. I guess,
like wash your hands after using your
yeah, and
keyboard.
like we weren't even really doing anything with it. We were
No,
like,
exactly.
we would be like, hey, write a season of True Detective if this person and this person were the star.
Yeah.
What would that look like? Break that down. Just
Yeah.
to see. What it would come up with.
Yep.
I think we asked it to write we were watching the White Lotus. What would Goggins, Rockwell, what would their season of True Detective look like? And set it here and like in this time period, And we were like, all right, it's pretty good, but it's basically just pulling tropes,
Yep,
I
it
mean,
is.
I have a buddy who does a lot of old school like tabletop role playing games and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He was getting it to write little adventures and things like
Mhm.
that, for him to take his players through and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, for stuff like that, it can do it. You know what I mean? And
But is it real? Is there anything behind it?
I mean, no, it's because
No.
it's just basically Googling really
Yeah.
fast. It's going like, what are the top tropes what are the top tropes found in all the seasons of True Detective, or
Exactly.
whatever, and like analyze Sam Rockwell's every part he's ever played, and I mean, and it's just jamming it all together,
It's funny because Hank Green, he had this interview of Nick Soros, which is how I heard about the book. But he says, basically, he said, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for not really understanding the mechanisms behind AI, but it feels at times like running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And you're just like, I am a wizard and I am going to alchemize this lead into gold. And it's just like fake. But then you roll the dice and you're like, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it's doing, like in a lot of sense. And that's my grounding thought is that it doesn't have hands and feet like us, man. We still are a special thing.
Yeah. The way it was the way it's been described to me by people that are much smarter than I am, and I'm probably still getting this wrong.
Yeah, me too.
But
I'm sure I am too.
it is that it basically when you start one of these chats, it scans the whole thing, and then every time it goes back and rereads the whole chat that you've done, and that's how it.
Yeah.
And on top of all of the stolen intellectual property that's been fed into it. And You know,
Like our books.
yeah, like our books.
Have you checked? I'm sure your book has been pirated.
I looked.
Me too.
But yeah, you know, and like all of the stuff that it, you know, and it, you know, and it goes in Google's stuff, you know, but I mean, it's like, you know, that, you know,
Yeah. It's a trillion times faster than we could ever be. Yeah. Of course.
So it's like, that's how it's sort of like pretending it's a person, but it's not. It's not. It's going to become a worse and worse problem because it's going to, there's already issues with the film industry and they're integrating that more and more into, you know, and
yeah, Comic-Con. Did you see this? The OG Comic-Con out of San Diego? They said no AI generated art whatsoever.
Good.
It will be allowed. Isn't that fantastic? So I feel like we need to be voices because actually, like with the blanket coverage, we need to resist in the little ways of just giving our opinions and pushing back. And Comic-Con doing that is huge.
Comic-Con makes a lot. There's a lot of I mean, if you've never been,
I have, Penny Arcade, so Comic-Con,
you know what I'm talking about. Then
I do.
The Artist Alley is huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, and so you're basically alienating all of those creators if you work that into that.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, okay, I'm not the president of the universe or whatever. Go and like start AI Comic-Con. I don't care what you know what I mean?
Right.
But
exactly.
Like, you have to like set up some artistic rules with it. And
that's
it's gonna continue to be a discussion about what's allowed and what's not. And okay, so how much AI can we, you know? And then it'll
what
be
percentage?
A thing with
my
like
God, you're
special
right.
effects. And they'll be like, okay, well, how many AI characters can you use? And how does that fit in with SAG? And what is the, you know, and it's gonna be it's already a nightmare. It's gonna be like
even more so
of a nightmare. I listened to the Pivot podcast quite a bit and they talk about AI and they were making the point the other day, you know, Scott Galloway has where he was saying that he feels like the first implementation, one of the first implementations of this technology is that the studios are going to figure out how many jobs can they basically eliminate. Like now you've got, and I mean, I have friends in the industry. I know that, but you know, like, okay, you got this many people in the costume department. So how many people can you, how many, you know, is there going to be like 10 people in the costume department now, or is there going to be one in an AI? You know, I feel like that's sort of how the studios are looking at it now. It's like, it's a cost cutting measure. You know, like what can we do? But then like, when does that bleed into, can we just have the clanker write the whole thing? You know what I mean?
I think that they've tried that. I think like, okay.
They're already doing it. There's studios, there are AI studios that are set up now that are going to make complete like AI films.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we saw it at Christmas time. They had this creepy Coca-Cola commercial with this creepy
I heard of it.
kid.
Yeah, I heard about the backlash from that.
Yeah, total backlash. People who were really pissed. And then there's this like Fairlife milk. And my family and we make jokes about the creepy Fairlife milk kid because he's totally AI and creepy as heck. And so I think that there is consumer pushback and maybe that will help. But I think that we need on the other side some pushback on the legislation. It makes me nervous how much time.
Yeah, I think where they're going to try to start it is with things like cartoons.
Oh my God!
I think they think that they got more leverage with that. You know what I mean? And
I think that's a solid prediction.
And I feel like they'll start throwing in stuff like. You know, they'll start using it for special effects.
Yeah.
And then like, well, that's okay. You know, there's no real such thing as a Godzilla. So we can make a Godzilla in a, you know, we can make Clanker Godzilla and like,
destroy any city because it's just all fake.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
that's
God, you're
cool.
right.
That's cool to like slip that in, and then I think they're just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until one day, an entirely AI film is up for an Oscar.
Oh my God. That'll probably be next year with the timeline we're on, how fast it's going.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
I can't believe they didn't sneak one in this time around, but
they probably did. We're going to find out. That's so creepy. Oh my God. Oh, please don't ruin my favorite movie and tell me that happened already. Until next week, what can we do to feel better? I need to feel better about the world. I feel better just having this conversation.
Well, I mean, I feel like people are, I feel like, there's a large percentage of people that are aware of this, maybe on the fringes. Yeah. But, because aren't you sick of like everybody trying to sell you everything?
Yes.
I can't open my email. I can't look, I get text messages. I can't go anywhere on the internet hardly. No. I can't turn on streaming. Everybody's always trying to sell me something, and I feel like that ties into social, and that ties into how I can't believe we haven't used this word yet, this podcast, but it ties into all the slop that's created on social media, know?
Yeah.
And they're going to ramp up what they're already shoving at us with the AI and the slop to a level that I don't think we're even prepared for now. I mean, I've been off Facebook going on 2 years, and the last time I was on there, your feed or whatever it was all just like an AI thing doing this and like buy this and it's this, and I'm just like, why do people have this anymore?
So people are going to just be overloaded, and they're just going to.
I feel like that might work to our advantage of just how brazen and just how
it'll be fatigue that leads us to just turn it off.
I mean, I'm already exhausted going on the internet. You know what I mean? So it's just
I agree. Maybe that will be, because going back to what the sweet spot of the internet was, it was intentional. So it's like, maybe I hear about people that are leaving their phones behind when they go to the grocery store, because they have grocery stores that are changing the prices based on their socioeconomic spot. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah.
And so they're just leaving their phones behind, more often. And at first they feel like, oh my God, what's happening while I'm gone? And then when the world doesn't come crashing down for an hour, they're like, wow, that felt really good to be untethered from it. So then maybe they're charging it in a different room when they sleep, or, maybe these baby steps. Or it could be a cold turkey. It could be a combination of both.
I've moved all my conversations to like you and I do,
one-on-one. Yeah.
And there's a lot of texting and that sort of thing now. Whereas I would, send people messages on social, it's just direct stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, right now, like my favorite thing to do is just like walk away from my phone, try to for the weekend,
That's what I was going to say is for a weekend, or just try it for like Saturday. Just try one day of just walking away from it for a little bit. And it's helped me to be bold enough to do it. I'm like, okay, if it's a family thing, they can get to hold me in other ways, but it's like, I can put my phone down and it feels so good.
You start training yourself to move away from it.
Yeah.
It does. It really does get easier and easier to do it. It's, I mean, I hate to put it in, but I mean, it's true. It's like any addiction. And we we unfortunately became addicted.
Yeah, we sure did. Was that your dog or what? There's a tail. I was gonna say, is that your dog or my dog that just shook?
Potentially. Nope. Nope, that was mine.
That's so cute. I think my Cooper, we both have Coopers, but my Cooper fell asleep. I think he's like hard sleeping, hard napping in the living room.
Yeah, that's Eddie. This is Eddie.
Hi, Eddie.
He's my big boy.
And you know what? That is the best way. Let's connect with real stuff. Hello, Eddie, shaking off. Let's connect with real
Aw.
stuff by petting our dogs. I'm going to go to the recycle center. That's my real thing that I'm going to connect with next.
Yeah, I'm
What are you
going
gonna
to.
do?
I've been watching a lot of classic film, and I've been reading a lot more books. And now that I'm back all into it, I like it.
I
You know,
love it
I
too.
remember what it was like before.
Yeah. You know, real books, real movies. You're the trendsetter. I don't want everybody to buy out stuff from our thrift shops because we're finding little deals. But man, just getting
Yeah,
the
leave that
real
stuff there for me.
movies.
Yeah,
And
leave
me
that stuff
too.
there for me. Yeah.
I know, me too. I still have, oh my God, I have quite a collection. You know, the Disney Vault, it partially lives in my basement right now.
Good for you. I actually found a bunch of those on VHS the other day and bought a
Hey,
ton of them.
that's us. We have the VHS. VHS, we are handled when it comes to the kids stuff. Our
I'm
stuff
telling you,
was less so.
physical media it's coming back.
So
People are
maybe
people are sick of it. You know, they've
they are.
realized that streaming is cable again.
It's
and
subscription.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
They want to own it. And they're changing it.
yeah,
That's a
and you
whole nother
don't-
conversation.
Yeah, that's we'll have to get into that at some other point. But yeah, they really are. But I mean, they've been doing that for. I mean, when we were doing all that stuff with publishing, they were doing that back then. You know.
Yeah. Yep. I remember it too. Exactly. Well, until next week, you know what? I'm just thinking F the clankers with your friend in mind. F those
Exactly.
clankers in your
Yes.
own personal, beautiful way. And I'll have links to two places. There's groups that are taking action to raise awareness about AI. I'll put those in the show notes, and I'll put links to a couple of the books that I've been reading in the show notes too. And anything else, Jesse, that you send me too, I will add to the show notes.
Fantastic. And don't forget, if you're biscuits and you made a cow insemination film in the 90s.
I feel like Biscuits is a porn star. Like, what is this? This Biscuits? We can't. Who
No, he
is
was just-
Biscuits really?
he was
Time
just a-
traveler, porn
He was just
star,
a
everything.
dude. He was just a dude that
Inseminating cows. One
just a dude that like came up with an interesting documentary
he
about
has a very
cow
interesting nickname.
insemination. and
Stop it! Every
and
time you say
warned-
that.
and warned us about he warned
He
me
warned
about the
us about the
information.
super highway.
Information
Information
super
super highway.
Yeah. Seriously, man, find me. Yeah, you know.
Find Jesse. Use the links. Comment. And oh my God, go ahead and fill up our inbox with comments about how we're old people that are complaining about tech.
Yeah,
That's okay.
totally. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, let me know all the dumb stuff that I got wrong,
Me
know,
too.
during
You
this
know, I am no expert. I got it all wrong. Until next week, take care.
bye.
Bye.
Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers. Fucking clankers.